That Man and His Manga.
Hello and welcome to That Man. That is me merchandise, and this is a manga about cosplay. That's right, a manga about cosplay. One of the things that I absolutely adore doing, or at least I did adore doing. It's kind of fallen along the wayside along with everything else in 2020 it seems. But My Dress Up Darling is an interesting title. A seinen. I honestly thought it was going to be a shojo or something like that. I was rather surprised because it was something that I looked at and I was just like, oh, well, I'll go off the whole description and I'll see where it goes. It was absolutely fantastic. I would really recommend checking this one out. Very underrated. A young man named Wakana Gojo. He is a bit of a loner. He has been traumatized when he was younger because he had an absolute love of a certain kind of doll, and since then he's just been like, oh well, yeah, life will just pass me by. It's not until another girl, the main girl here, discovers his hidden talent for creating the doll's costumes. She then asks him, it's just like, oh, please, 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 please make my cosplay for me. And after a few bits of going, oh, well, I don't know, will I be bullied, will I not? He decides to go ahead on that. Now, it's one of those titles where you don't really think much of it. The main character is one of those popular blonde characters, otherwise known as a gal. But again, it's weird. The whole gal thing is that it's like, people kind of think that they're just like, oh, well, they look easy, and it's just like every single one, and literally every single one in every single series is not that way. I find it quite weird how it's like, oh, we're going to force this stereotype onto people, but no, almost every single manga I see doesn't have that. In fact, almost every manga I see, I would go to assume that a gal is just a normal girl who likes cute things and is a little bit girly. It's weird. It's one of those weird things. But what continues with this story is it's rather nice. It's a really nice pick-me-ups title, especially if you are missing the thrill of having to create and, well, show off your own cosplay. The main girl, well, she wants to cosplay a character who is, well, let's face it, she's basically a hentai character. That's correct. She wants to cosplay a character from a popular hentai series. She even makes him play the game. And yeah, I thought that was quite interesting, and that was what got me surprised about the context of this series. Like I said, originally I opened this up thinking, oh, it's the usual shoujo kind of tropes where it's just like, it's rather cutesy, romancy. But no, this was actually quite, well, how should we say, saucy. Very saucy indeed. In fact, but it makes sense. It makes sense in the whole context of things. They do focus a lot of chapters on the main character, obviously a male character, just measuring her so he can get the right measurements, and she's in a swimsuit and he's just like, oh, can I do this bit? Oh, I've got to do this. And it took me back into my days of when I first had to measure myself for cosplay. You've got to measure everything. You've got to measure the length of your arm, circumference, and it's just like every little part of you has to be factored in when making these costumes. And I'm really excited to see how this series is going to progress with that, because it's one of those things that you don't see much. I remember years ago there was one called DramaCon, I believe it was, at Tokyo Pop, which I saw a little bit of. I think it was in one of those, those Tokyo Pop free books that they used to give away. But I never got into it, and for it to go so long without us having an actual proper cosplay dedicated manga, I mean, sure, we have them here and there. Titles like Genshiken and Kiss Him Not Me, both of them are kind of just like, oh well, we'll have this character who cosplays. But it's never really the focus. It's never really the whole focus of the story. But this is a rather charming slice of life comedy probably romance about a guy who wants to make costumes for beautiful things, and a beautiful girl wanting this guy to make her costume for him. I would really recommend it, and nobody is really talking about it. I think the only person I remember even mentioning this one is Based Senpai, so you know if he's recommending it, it's probably going to be pretty decent. So yeah, I would absolutely 100% recommend checking out My Dress Up Darling if you have an interest in cosplay. You are going to get some decent mileage out of this one, and it's available from Square Enix Manga. That's right, so most places are going to be stocking it. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you thought of it if you've read it in the comments, and if you've not read it, go check it out. You will absolutely enjoy it. There are plenty of other titles such as Uzaki-chan and multiple other things on here on the channel, so go check them out. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in one of these other videos. See you there.